Mr. Minister, how are you, sir?
The Iranian foreign minister has left his country at war to be here in Geneva today. His presence alone offered some hope that there may yet be a way out from this rapidly escalating conflict.
Mr. Araghchi, is there any hope to a diplomatic end to this crisis?
Abbas Araghchi's only response was a silent smile. Inside, handshakes with European counterparts, usually a signal of friendship, here merely a formality.
So please have
But Iran was sitting around the table with the UK, Germany, France and the EU. The Americans were not here, and yet their voice was the loudest in the room, because the British delegation had travelled directly from Washington to be here, and they have now delivered Iran with an ultimatum on behalf of the White House. End uranium enrichment or the threat of US military action is real.
Zero enrichment is the starting point, and yes, of course, we took that message to the Iranians today.
What happens if Iran does not agree?
We have a window of time. This is perilous and deadly serious.
It was at almost the exact same time the Iranians sat down at the negotiating table. Their missiles were hitting Haifa in Israel. A message to those piling pressure on them to back down, that they're not yet cornered in this conflict. We then saw the Iranians as they left the meeting.
Mr. Araghchi, what's your message to the world?
At this point, Araghchi had just been given that warning from America and a 2-week deadline for a deal.
Do you fear escalation in this conflict now?
Iran is now willing to talk to the Americans directly, but they say only if Israel ceases its attacks first.
Iran is ready to consider diplomacy once again, and once aggression is stopped and the aggressor is held accountable for the crimes committed. In this regard, I made it crystal clear that Iran's defense capabilities are not negotiable. We support continuation of discussion with ITV and EU and express our readiness to meet again in the near future.
But Israel's Prime Minister is not backing down. Reeling from Iran's latest attacks, he was asked how long he will now continue in this fight.
As long as it takes. That's the answer. As long as it takes, because we face an existential danger, a dual existential danger. One from 20,000 such rockets, 20,000, not one. This is one rocket, one missile. And the other is, of course, atomic bombs in the hands of this mad regime.
The negotiating teams left Geneva tonight, and the terms of any deal to de-escalate have been put on the table.
Whether this meeting has been diplomacy or delay, that deadline of 2 weeks has now been set for Iran to respond.
Within that time, Iran must either back down or it will have to face down an escalation. And they leave here knowing the threat of American bombers over their skies is fast approaching. Peter Smith, News at 10, Geneva.
Well, barely had the talks in Geneva broken up and Donald Trump was delivering his verdict. Iran doesn't want to talk to Europe, the president said. Well, Dan joins us from Washington. It was a pretty brutal assessment, wasn't it, Dan, really? Hardly gives much confidence over the likelihood of their success.
Didn't appear to, no. I mean, he spoke for about 10 minutes as he landed in New Jersey ahead of the weekend, asked multiple questions about Iran. Started off by saying that the US is ready, willing and able to strike Iran if he decides to go ahead. But he did leave open this window for some sort of diplomatic settlement, talking about this 2-week deadline really within which he will make a decision on whether to go. But he also did, as you say, Julie, pour cold water really on this effort in Geneva with the European foreign ministers, as you've seen there in Peter's report, to try and talk to the Iranians and find a way through. Here's what he said.
But I'm giving them a period of time, and I would say 2 weeks would be the maximum. Iran doesn't want to speak to Europe. They want to speak to us. Europe is not going to be able to help in this.
What intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong.
I mean, these comments really left a lot of people scratching their heads. First of all, on Tulsi Gabbard, that is his Director of National Intelligence, his pick for the person who coordinates all of the different intelligence agencies. She's got a very different view and has stated it publicly about Iran. She thinks they're a long way from getting a bomb. The President, again, contradicting her. That's happened before. And then when it comes to the talks, really, very perplexing, given that David Lammy, the UK Foreign Secretary, had been here coordinating the message that America wanted to put in those talks, and then the President really just seemed to reject them out of hand. No real sight at the moment, Julie, of an off-ramp to this crisis.